we're just here to talk about, they just set up shop like 20 feet out onto the sand, didn't even go like look up close. We're just here to talk about, people that own properties and, vacationers, about the beaches, and the beaches are clean and everything's great. I was like, you go out and walk on those beaches and you take a closer look, and I've documented this on camera, okay? There are these little things that look like, one of the people, my sister actually, who's here with me now, went to pick them up. It looked like a leaf. You call it a tar ball. It actually dissolves in your hand. It's super soft. It just literally just dissolves when you touch it, and you cannot get this stuff off. We're trying to get it off with these, handy wipes. You actually have to go and wash with like dish detergent. You get it on you, and you wish you hadn't. They're everywhere. They're really small. They don't look like you can, unless you look at really closely, you can't even see them. In other words, what I'm trying to say is the beaches that look clean, obviously the beaches that don't look clean, you can see tremendous amounts of oil, but the beaches that actually look clean really aren't.
Okay, you had mentioned earlier about the press that's not able to report from there from a threat of getting arrested and jailed. How is it that you're able to go down there and pull out such fantastic footage and interviews and make phone calls when no one else isn't?
Well, see, I think that other people are. I think there's, for starters, difficult to say really. There's certain areas where I've been confronted with the whack and hunt security, and I've got this all on camera, where they've tried to steer me away from certain areas. I've heard locals talking about there's certain hotspot areas that really want us to avoid. I've even heard from local people that I'm hanging out with that they're rounding up dead animals in certain locations, and they're absolutely keeping people from, even the locals that grew up in these places, from entering these certain zones. So I think there's certain pockets of secrecy much more than others, but also a lot of the media, I've seen this firsthand. They're not even going and investigating. First of all, it's like 105 degrees here. Walking out on the shores in certain areas was almost, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it was almost like life-threatening. My sister and I got on this one portion of the beach. We document the whole thing on camera, and it's like, a matter of survival, trying to make it back to the parking lot. The car is just so hot, and there's a smell and a stench in the air. So, but the Channel 10 News, it's National Channel 10 News, Fox News they weren't even going onto the beaches and doing what we were doing, and they're giving a report about the beaches.
And you know what's funny is whenever you see them reporting from that area, you always see the same bridge behind them and the same little grassy knoll that they all stand in. And from what I hear, they're confined to this like 1 mile square area or whatever where they do all their interviews, where they set up all the press. And they've kind of got them corralled right in there. So I totally understand where you're coming from there. And I've spent a lot of time down in that region in I'd say the last 10 years, especially like in the Pascagoula area and things of that nature. And I know firsthand how much that economy depends on the fishing industry. And I also know, I've mirrored your videos, a lot of your videos on my channel, and the overflight that you did. What is it that you saw? How is it when you did that overflight? Kind of describe what it was like, what you saw when that happened.
I did 2 overflights. I did one over the channel, over Grand Isle with a 48-year local pilot. His name was Reed from Bell Aviation. I did that on day 50, and he took me up, and he was almost like tears in his eyes when we were flying over certain areas. You've got this wall of oil, sheets of oil in every direction, just marching their way into marshlands and estuaries, and little to no one down below doing anything to stop it. Seriously. We landed, and he said, my God, I said, James, I had no idea it was this bad. People just aren't, this is just not getting the coverage it deserves. Then I flew up a couple days later in a seaplane with Dr. Carl Safina, a marine biologist, written several books on oceans, and when we got over ground zero, we circled over ground zero for quite a while. Seriously, it looked apocalyptic, what was going on down below us. The look on his face said it all. It looked absolutely diabolical to me. I'm not a marine biologist or scientist, but from what I saw, but the look on his face.
Yeah, I can only imagine. So
it is so bad. You can see oil in every direction as far as the eye can see from 3,000 feet up.
That's awful. Now, what exactly, before all this transpired, when this first happened, What was it that made you want to go down there and capture this footage and be there? What was it that drove you to go down there?
I live in a small fishing village in Northern California. My next-door neighbor's a fisherman, crabber. And I was just imagining, I was watching this nightmare unfold, and it was like, it got to, up into the 30s, and I thought, my God, what is going on? Why aren't they stopping this? And I felt compelled to help the communities in any way I could. Well, one of the few contributions I could make, because I'm not wealthy, is I could grab my camera. I'm an editor. I'm a film cameraman, and I can go down there and document what I see, offer the locals a voice, travel around. And that's what I've been doing, and it's been amazing how little exposure and how little the media is getting into the trenches, meeting the locals, talking to the fishermen. I mean, it's pretty sparse, but most people are so grateful to have someone who's offering them a voice. And I'm getting phone calls from people and emails all over in 4 different states with leads on so many stories. I can't follow up on all of it. There's not enough of me.
Okay, I also noticed on your YouTube channel you have a movie on there about Day 54 where some people in Orange Beach, Alabama, which is 200 miles away from New Orleans, want the intercoastal waterway to Perito Bay closed before it's contaminated, because this bay is a breeding ground for endangered species such as bottlenose dolphins, and it's wide open. Now, why wouldn't you would think that they would have this closed off?
What's happening, yeah, no, it's so bad, and the local community are trying their darndest to do it. It would take a series of barges and booms, and they cannot get the local government to respond fast enough, because it's a waterway to coal. They transport coal on ships. They would shut down that whole operation. And it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. The locals are up in arms about it, because once those areas get polluted, you've got all. They say it's like the epicenter for life in the Gulf, in their region. They're so upset. But I'm sitting here with a gentleman, Wade Perrier. He's a 10 years in the Gulf, in the Foley area, Alabama. He works at Jesse's Restaurant, Magnolia Springs, and Big Daddy's on Fish River. And he can talk to you about a local mayor here who took matters into his own hands. And if you don't mind, I'd like to pass you over to Wade.
By all means, by all means.
Yeah, Wade. Good evening, sir.
Hey, good evening, Wade. Welcome to Bridging the Gap. I hear that you live there locally. Describe to us what's going on down there, and what you guys as a community, what you're doing to mobilize for this effort.
Well, being an employee at Jesse's in Magnolia Springs, it's a quaint little village, 10 miles north of the coast, but it's on a pristine waterway, the Magnolia River. That feeds into Weeks Bay, which feeds into Mobile Bay. What the city has done there is they've been very proactive. Instead of waiting for permission from the federal government to go ahead and do what they need to do to protect their waterways, they just went ahead and did it. They have triple, quadruple booms, and they've used barges as wave breaks. So they've really taken a proactive approach to preventing the oil from the Weeks Bay.
That's good, because I'll tell you what, it disgusts me. I've seen some of the actions that the people down in Louisiana are taking, and it kind of disgusts me in a way that they're sitting back and waiting for government approval. And my stance is this, if that was private property, if those marshes were private property, and say it was mine, I know I would do whatever it takes right away to make sure that those marshes were protected, that my property was protected. And because it's not, because it's under, it's either state or federal property, they kind of take a more hands-off approach or back away from it, and it makes matters a lot worse, I guess you could say. And
it certainly does.
And why? I wonder why. Why would they do that? Why would they wait like that when they have certain things at their disposal, albeit the National Guard, building the sandbars, things of that nature? Why wait? Tell the government to go shove it, find me, do whatever. But I need to save this land.